Hi, I'm NewsTribune sports editor Kevin Klum, and I'm here with Jared Bell. Chris Yucus is under the weather today. Speaking of weather, we haven't really been able to get the spring sports started because it's been too much snow and rain and cold. So there's been 2 baseball games so far, I believe. Maybe a few more than that. 2 in the area. Marquette had a few down south in Jacksonville.
IVCC's had some games, but as far as high school games, it's only been 2 or 3 games. A lot of teams have been able to tough it out yet.
Yeah, so maybe by next week we'll be able to talk about baseball and softball. But right now we do have some indoor events that happen. The second annual Illinois Valley All-Star Games were on Saturday. That was a fun event to cover. I was down there at Putnam County. The boys' game was particularly entertaining. I mean, the North squad that won the game, they had 4 of the 5 NewsTribune All-Area first-team players on their starting lineup. So you can imagine that was a fantastic team right there. And the girls' game was pretty good too. I mean, it was a little bit more of a blowout, but there were some really good players. Jaleesa Kindred from Ottawa had a big day, 24 points.
Well, and the one thing too, compared to this year, which is the second year as opposed to last year, which was the first year of the basketball All-Star Game, was it was more well attended, a lot more buzz, a lot more people there. And in the boys' game too, one thing we saw this year that was completely missing last year was defense. It was about 250 points or more last year combined in the boys' game, where this year, we even saw the North team with Coach Mike Kilmartin calling defensive plays, running stuff, completely different than last year when they were just chucking threes. It was so much fun. Where this year it was more of an actual basketball game.
Yeah, I mean there was more defense, but there wasn't a lot of defense. It was 113 to 105.
But nobody scored 150 some points this year. If
That's
one
true.
team scored 150 points last year, and that wasn't the case this year.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun event. We'll see if they can keep building it in the future. I think they will. It is a fun time for all the kids, so hopefully more people keep coming and more schools get involved. And another indoor event that we had this weekend was the Illinois Prep Top Times unofficial state meet. We had some kids who got some medals there and some good performances, which we'll get to those kids more in the powerhouse players, which is later in this segment here.
The one thing I will say too is, we have a lot of great teams, a lot of great athletes in all the sports, all the schools, but it seems like our best area of sports is track. And it definitely saw that this weekend. We had a lot of state medalists, a lot of competitors at the state meet. Keep in mind, you have to actually qualify. If you get one of the top, was it 12 or 18 or 6 times or distances depending on the event. And considering there's that criteria, we actually had a lot of kids down there, which kind of goes to show how good track is in the area. We had a record-setting year last year for boys and girls, whether it be state champions, state medalists. We should hopefully have the same success once we can get outside. Basically, when Mother Nature decides it's time to go, we can hopefully show that off.
Yeah, there should be a lot of good athletes again in boys track, which we're going to kind of preview that right now. I know Estelle Peru has a couple returning state qualifiers back, and Logan Zeman, who he got 3rd place in the high jump at Prep Top Times. He's already cleared 6'7" this year, which last year at 2A outdoor meet would have been 2nd place. And they also have Damian Allen, who got 7th over the weekend in the Prep Top Times in the 400. So he should have another big year for LP. And
you talked about Logan. He said that his goal for the high jump for the entire season was to get 6'7". He did that in his 2nd meet, so maybe he can go higher to 6'9" or above. You also have state qualifiers for boys sprinkled all over the area that, state foot qualifiers who are back. You have people like in Ottawa, Travis Pointer, who is a shot putter. You have BV, you have Logan Hoffert, who's back, who's a hurdler. Hall is really good. You have Landon Picado, who was a triple jump state qualifier last year. You do have some schools that have kids who have graduated. So, Princeton had 3 state qualifiers last year in 4 events. They were seniors though, so they're gone. So Princeton's kind of rebuilding. They do have Austin Stewart, who was a high jumper who's already gone. I believe it was a 6'8" in indoor season. So he missed state last year in 2A. I think it was 4th or 5th as a sophomore in 1A. So he's back, but for the most part, Princeton's rebuilding. Mendota's pretty much rebuilding. So it's kind of a mix. You have some young schools, but also a lot of experience coming back. You have Luke Hill, who got, like you said, 2nd at the indoor meet. He was 2 or 3 events last year. He was an outdoor state qualifier. So there really is some top kids coming back to go with the young teams that are developing and coming around.
Yeah, we also lost Adam Weiner from BV, who was state champion last year.
Derek Johnson from BV, who was all everything, and then track and cross country.
I believe he had 3 medals last year. So BV will always be strong, but they obviously are going to be hurting without those 2. One kid we forgot to mention from Ottawa, jumper Austin Verand. He won the NIV 12 title in indoor already, so he's having a good season. He's a jumper. But I think it should be another good season for indoor track.
And outdoor too.
Oh, yes. Outdoor. I'm so concerned with this
Like I
weather.
said, yeah.
Who knows if we'll ever get out there. But now, Jared, we've done our track preview, so it's time for everybody's favorite segment. NT Prep Preview, Powerhouse Players. Matt Baker, roll the tape, please.
Powerhouse
Players of the week.
Powerhouse Players of the Week.
Powerhouse Players of the Week. How's that?
Well, Kevin, our first NT Powerhouse Player of the Week is Princeton senior Phoenix Smallwood. The trackster had a good showing at last weekend's Illinois Prep Top Times meet in Bloomington. She finished second in the triple jump with a school record 36 feet 4 inches. She also then tied the school record in the long jump by jumping 17 feet 6 3/4 inches. A good week for her and a good start to the season.
All right, moving on. We're going back to basketball, and for the last time, Jan Soderholm is a Powerhouse Player of the Week. He wrapped up his LP career with 22 points in the Illinois All-Star game at Putnam County to lead the North team to a 113-105 victory. So good end for the NT Player of the Year.
There were a lot of really good players who had good games there, so the fact that he had the best of the best really says something. But our final NT Prep preview, or Prep Powerhouse Player in honor of Chris, who's inactive this week, is Marquette senior Luke Hill, who got second in the 3,200 meter run at the indoor state meet. Like I said, he's already ran a sub 10 minutes 2 mile, which is fantastic for this time of the year, so good for him.
No nickname?
No nickname. I'm sorry, I'm not creative. I'm sick too. We're all playing hurt this week, but he's a creative person.
Well, maybe next week if Chris returns next week, he'll come back to the nicknames. We'll also be discussing the girls track preview next week. So that's it for this week, and join us next week on www.newstrib.com/sports.
Oh, you're gonna do that.
Okay, I'll see about that.
No,
All right, we're good.